G'day guys, welcome back to another video with Enno here from Fantasy Take TV. Today we'll be going through FPL. Seems like I haven't done that forever. Game week 8 it is now. After we lost, some games with the Queen's passing. So rest in peace to the Queen of England. But that has that put off soccer football for the weekend just gone. A few games were cancelled. There was some Europa League game cancelled, which has had an effect as well, which I'll look at in a sec. But basically it was pretty much a nothing game week 7. A few people had to cop, a hit of a transfer they made. That if you knew about the sort of a loophole, I guess. I mean, look, FPL is pretty just crazy at times in the way that they released that they were going to be handing back any chips that anyone played besides the wild card. So if you free hitted, you would have kept the transfer and not lost points. But funnily enough, I'm inside the top 4 million after that game week of nothing because with the people ahead of me taking hits, I gained like 50k spots or something. So pretty funny, also stupid at the same time. But we'll just move on because in the land of FPL, that's just what happens. Stuff like this seems to be happening every year now. So I don't know if the Queen dying doesn't happen every year. That's obviously, once in a lifetime, or probably only, pretty much once in a lifetime. But the COVID situation, the cancelled fixtures last year, just these things pop up. And I know they handed out a free hit last year. They're not going to do that this year, and they haven't, obviously, for these circumstances. But we just swiftly move on. And look, there was no football for a while, and there's only going to be this game week with, as we'll get into it, 3 games are off. So Chelsea, Liverpool, Brighton, Crystal Palace, and Man United and Leeds. And 7 games are on, obviously, remaining. But then it's international break, and then there's another week off. Anyway, so a bit of a 1 week. We get to watch some football again, and then have another a week off. But the Champions League's been on. I've been doing that. There's a little bit of a break with that as well. So I'll make a video on that and how I'm going when that's back on in the future. But I guess what do we know for FPL? So as I said, those 3 games are off. There's 7 remaining. I've got Holly Shan's fixture ticker here. Just to sort of put it, into perspective and have a look. But then Arsenal and PSV's Europa League game was called off. So that also means that in game week 12, which is, it's close. It's 5 weeks away or 5 game weeks away. That Arsenal City game is off. So Arsenal can play PSV then rescheduled. So City lose a fixture there amongst playing Liverpool the week before that, as you can see. Look, we always want City assets. Haaland, of course. Yep, I know I still don't own him, but looks like the best asset in the game in recent times. Besides, Mo Salah, he's the new. Everyone's captaining him every week. Is that going to continue? But they lose a fixture there. Arsenal obviously lose one, but a lot of people are sort of jumping off Arsenal assets at the moment, seeing as they have Tottenham, Liverpool as well. So look, they had City, but no one was really expecting anything against City anyway, so that fixture's not on. But they have some good fixtures in between, like Leeds, Southampton, and Forest as well. So look, I can get around getting them off in the short term. And same as Liverpool, I guess I'll speak about now, because they have Arsenal and City as well in the next month, as well as no fixture this week. So when I get to my team later and what I'm doing, I'll definitely show what my thoughts are. But I can totally understand people jumping off and looking to get him back in with, a few good fixtures, because Liverpool have Forest and Leeds as well in that period, and Southampton. So Arsenal and Liverpool kind of mirror each other where they play each other. They're both due to play City, although Arsenal aren't. And then they have Forest, Leeds, Southampton as well in the month after that, leading up until the World Cup. So this is game week 16. When the World Cup is on, we get free unlimited transfers. Then it's like another wild card. So if you have a wild card now, and you don't have enough players, or you can't, use 2 or 3 transfers to get to an 11 this week, then I can see a reason to use it. Otherwise, if you can get to even 10 or 11 with 2 or 3 transfers taking 1 hit, I wouldn't take 2 hits, but it's up to you. But if you can get to an 11 with 1 hit, I would do that and save the wild card for the international break and then set up from there. But if you can't, then I would use it this week. So it is very team dependent. Now, I can't sit here and say yes or no. You'd have to make that decision yourself. But that's pretty much what we know. And then there's a lot of congestion. I don't have the dates on this certain ticker, but you can find them on Twitter. Just a lot of people out there posting them. But Ben Crellin and others like that these fixtures are really crammed, and Arsenal having to play their Europa League game in there. It just keeps it all. There's like midweek weekend when Champions League comes back, Europa League as well, and just leading up into the World Cup, and then it's a World Cup. So it's a lot of football, and these postponed fixtures are going to cause a mess later on in the season. But that is not till after the World Cup. So I guess we'll get into a few questions, as I often post to Twitter to have a look. FPL's back, so yeah, I'll record, or you'll see my team, in a bit, but I'll quickly just go through these questions. I don't want to go through the ones that are too specific to the team, but I'll quickly maybe just cover an answer from here. There's only about 9 or 10. So Tony says, hey mate, have 9 playing but 2 free transfers to get to 11, but not as strong as someone using a wild card. See, this is probably a pretty good question that I can cover off, but allows me to sit on the wild card. Do you think this is the right move? Yeah, I think it is, Tony. As I pretty much said before, I think if you can get to an 11 with 2 free transfers, yes, it may not look as good as someone's wild card team for this particular week, but I still think that there's some players that wild carders are going to have some trouble going with, because, say Leicester, for instance, have Spurs, but then a really good run. So do you go with the Maddison now against Spurs or not? Or Zaha, for instance, who we'll talk about later, but they have no fixture this week, but then a really good run, and that's probably someone you want on the wild card. So for me, use the 2 transfers, free transfers. Make sure you get like Newcastle players against Bournemouth, Mitrovic against Forest, that sort of thing. Make sure you get those really key players as well as your Haalands and whatnot, and then just wait for the international break. Things can pop up, players can get injured, and you'll have a better fixture, to work with from there, because I think it opens up on 9 for a lot of teams. So that's my opinion. Damo says, is it worth taking a -4 to get 11 play? I mean, that's what I'm doing. So I would do that, Damo. And as I said to Tony, just do that same thing. Save your wild card for game week 9. That's the way I see it, if you can do so. Sean, any chance Alvarez gets a run this week with all the UCL matches around? Look, I'm not going to go there, mate. Look, Haaland is going to keep playing as he has, and look, they just got the job done against Dortmund this morning, but they've managed him well. They're going to continue to do so, and I expect them to be leading and winning more games earlier than not. So I know the UCL wasn't like that this morning. They had to fight for that win, but in the Premier League anyway, I can see him continuing to start, coming off when the game is won, and keep being managed, and keep starting, thus the next game. So that's the way it's looked till now. So I would not be going near Alvarez. Steve says Kufal, Nico, or Fofana and Emerson. I would. Oh, this is tough. Fofana and Emerson. I think Emerson is set to continue starting, and then Fofana should be as well. Whereas Kufal, they both have decent fixtures. Obviously, your 2 West Ham boys, but. Do you trust that Forest defense? Like, I know Nico is very attacking. He has those good stats, but do you trust him to keep cleans? Probably not, which means you're really relying on attacking returns. And whilst attacking returns can, if you do keep a clean sheet, get your big hauls, it's going to be very few and far between. And I know his attacking stats are good, but I probably would still stick with Fofana and Emerson, I would say. But that is close. Nick says, Salah to KDB worth a -4. Look, if you have 10 and that's to get 11, I think so. Liverpool with their next, month of fixtures and not having one this week definitely plays into that. So I think it is. Ab says, personal opinion on Isaac or Tony. I think it's Isaac pretty, not comfortably, but I just think they have better fixtures. Tony's been obviously very good, when he played last and got that nice hat-trick, but I think Isaac with the better fixtures is the one for me. Nate, have to move one of Salah or Trent to get 11 this week. KDB is the likely in for Salah if he goes that route, which would be the top 3 targets. Look, I would do Salah to De Bruyne, I think, as well. So that's the way I would go. And then just have the plan to get back to Salah, which I'll talk about later when I do my team, which is a bit easier. But that's what I do. Should I field 9 players or take a hit to field 11? Depends. Is it 2 hits or is it 1? I think I'd just take the 1 hit and get yourself to 10. It really does depend. I don't need to see the team probably. Is holding the wild card till 12-13 ideal with City and Arsenal blank? Look, if you can manage that and get through, I think it is. But you're going to want some Newcastle players. The thing is with the fixture turn that we saw at the start. It is a lot of the lesser teams that haven't been in great form that are up the top, and all the really good teams that are in the top 4 that are down the bottom. So the thing is, they play each other. Obviously, those bottom teams. That's why the tick is down the bottom. So if you can trust them or think they can get returns against each other, and because it's going to be hard, obviously, to go full swing from them to all the other teams that we don't really own players from without a wild card. So look, I would just use it honestly, and as I've been saying, try to save it to game week 9 if you can manage this week. But if not, I would have no hesitancy using it this week either. People really hold on to their wild card chip, and in years gone past, like obviously it's been a lot more valuable, but with the World Cup, I just think if you want to change a few players, even if it's 3, just hit it and do it. And then I know things have popped up, and for my instance that, already using my wild card, I've gotten lucky, as you'll see, with it not affecting me as much as others it may have that have already used their wild card. But I just think don't have hesitancy if you want to make some changes. AC, Sun or KDB, I think it's KDB, as I've been saying, as Link says, and then places should be wild card. I've been saying that a lot. So hopefully you've got some of my thoughts of all those sorts of things over those questions and the beginning of the video. But now we'll get into my team and how I'm looking. So I have already made one transfer yesterday, and look, I thought, and it was seeming that Pope was going to rise. He hasn't. Look, a lot of wildcarders do affect the price changes, because if you're wildcarding, it doesn't affect all the transfers in and out as much as just an actual transfer does. So Pope is already in my team, and now I've got 0 in the bank. So I've still got 1 free transfer. Andreas for me just has to come on, and Trippier as well for gross. And so I'm sort of left with this team now, and Trent obviously isn't playing. So I could just roll the transfer, play with 10, and go into next week with 2 free transfers and try and maneuver that way. I'm going to be a bit more aggressive, I believe, and I obviously haven't done these transfers yet. I'm waiting for as much information as possible. I can do these without any harm of being priced out of players. But it would be Trent too, and this defender I haven't fully decided on yet. And it is hard to pick, but it doesn't feel great. But Soufal is where I've gone personally with West Ham's run of fixtures: Everton, Wolves, Fulham, Southampton, Liverpool in there. Hopefully I can bench him. I think I can, which I'll show you. And then Bournemouth. I'm actually going to go quite a few weeks here, so if you want to stick around and see what my plan is, it is obviously very down the track and things will pop up, but it's what I'm thinking of now. The reason I'm doing this, I think Mitrovic is a massive player to own, and not one you have to have really. And with the Forest fixture, just way too scared to not have him this week. He's been on a heater against the top teams. Really unthinkable what he could possibly do this week against Forest. That leaves me with actually extra player. It is a -4 as well. I probably would even maybe bench Soufal even after bringing him in, but he will come in handy in future game weeks. This, of course, does leave me without still Erling Haaland, and I know it's been killing me already for 3 or 4 weeks. Going to kill me again probably for another one, but don't worry, there is a plan. I will be getting him in game week 9, but I would probably captain Kane. I've also thought about bringing in Mitro and putting the captaincy straight on him, but that's something for another day. Into next week, 1 free transfer. Problem is, to get Haaland, I do have to get rid of a City player. I would probably, and my plan is to keep KDB still, get Wilfried Zaha. Again, I think he's a great option coming up. Chelsea in game week 9 this particular week, which you can play him against. He's been scoring against good teams as well, but Leeds, Leicester, Wolves, Everton, Southampton, that's an unbelievable run if he can stay fit. Reece James would come on probably for Saliba. Gross I'm still hanging on to at this point, and then Soufal he can probably come on maybe for Andreas. Just depends how I'm feeling and how Fulham look probably this week. And that allows me to then go Kane to Haaland, which has been a long time coming, but is obviously something that just has to be done. And I know I am bringing him in with United, Southampton, Liverpool away, and then a blank, which they don't really have it here, but it is a blank in 12, of course. But I've just got to have him, and I've just got to do it at some point. I know I'm not doing it the game week 8 week, but it's just something I have to do, and I'm doing it now in game week 9. So that's 2 hits in a row, and that's not ideal at all, but don't worry, there's no more hits planned anyway for the rest of these game weeks. So that's how the team would look then. I'd probably captain Haaland against United. He had no problem against them. Game week 10, I would I'd actually make a transfer. Sorry. So I think this is the week I'd finally jump off Jesus. And look, so Isaac is someone that I'm probably not going to have during this period, and someone that a lot of people are going to, especially wildcarders, and someone I can get here. But if we look from game week 10, the fixtures of kind of the good ones. I think it's Bournemouth and the week before, Trippier got Fulham. I've missed them. So with Isaac, just because obviously I've had to get Haaland and things like that. So it's in my fault. It's really been a roll-on effect since my wild card that's just kept hurting me. And Isaac is someone I'll have to be betting against. So I'm actually in this period tempted to go all the way down to Solanke. And I know it's a Bournemouth forward. Seems a bit silly, but they have Leicester, Fulham, Southampton, and then Leeds later on. And he is a cheaper forward at, what is he? I think 5'7". And obviously that may change by then. But then that just gives me someone better. Probably, Arsenal have Liverpool this week. Probably not someone I want to keep Jesus then for that fixture, but everyone else still has great fixtures. Martinelli against Liverpool, and obviously not the best, but I didn't really want double attack against Liverpool, but I'm happy to have one. Probably captain Haaland again against Southampton. Roll into this week, and I would finally roll that I've been saying I would for a while. Saliba has Leeds, maybe bench Trip for that. Could maybe play Andreas for that. Decisions to be made then. Maybe captain Mitrovic for Bournemouth as well. So I finally roll here. Game week 12 is where I think you need to start looking at bringing Liverpool players in, and you can probably do it the week before against Arsenal just to sort of save yourself the headache. But this is where I would do Cancelo out and back to Trent because Liverpool's fixture run coming up is great. West Ham at home, Forest, Leeds, Southampton and Villa with the Spurs fixture in there to finish the first half of the season. Gross, this is where he comes in handy. He's still hanging on my bench at this point, but he comes on for Forest fixture. It can bring on Trippier for the Everton fixture. So this is where I need to make another transfer, and that would be KDB back up to Mohamed Salah, who I have not had pretty much all season long. Jumped off him at my wildcard as well, and I've probably been quite lucky with that. Haaland hasn't been so lucky, but I've got back to these two big guns now, and then Haaland doesn't play, so I'd probably play Andreas against Villa here, not take a hit. Obviously hoping that I don't have to, but maybe I might. Still got 2 million in the bank here, and I would roll again here, bring on the Arsenal boys back for Southampton. Maybe I get rid of Gross off the field. Got to get Haaland back on the field. I can get rid of, could be anyone. Maybe Solanke, I guess, away to West Ham. Get him off and field this team. All nice matchups again. Looking pretty good. Pope against Tottenham, not the best, but what can you do? And then game week 14 is when I go and get Cancelo back. Against Leicester they have this week, who is definitely something you want to have. And then I need to fund this with 0.7, and this is when Gross finally makes an exit from my team to whoever. I think I've got Longstaff here as a 4.4 to make that one work. So it can be actually anyone, because I've actually done a different transfer along the way, but it can be any cheaper mid, but I'll have to do that to get the money. And then game week 15, look, we're getting close here where you can take some punts. I think I have written down Martinelli to Gordon for a 2-week punt. Everton have a couple of fixtures here, Leicester and Bournemouth until the World Cup. And then I think last week I had Trippier to Diaz or something like that, just to, try and get a City clean sheet. You could go for upside and go for a wing back from somewhere else or something. But look, long-winded, 8 weeks down the track plan. It is very silly. I won't lie to anyone here that is still watching. But at least for the first month of my plan, initially is to sort of, I was already pretty much jumped off Liverpool. Arsenal, I'll jump off Jesus eventually, and then I'll get back in Trent and Salah after the City blank. For KDB will go, Cancelo will go, and then 2 weeks later Cancelo will come back in. So that's a rough plan. Probably those main things that I just mentioned are the main plans, but obviously things around it and surrounding, fixtures and things still may change as they do in the landscape of FPL. But that's been the sort of update, Gameweek 8 preview. I will be tweeting what I'll go with for the captaincy probably later on. I'm leaning maybe Mitrovic if I go back to Gameweek 8. I still obviously don't have Haaland. Maybe Kane, if I trust Spurs. They weren't too great this morning in the Champions League, but back at home against Leicester looks mighty good. So thanks for watching. If you've gone this far, been 20 minutes, sort of an update really. I mean, it seems like it's been ages since we've had to talk about FPL. I haven't really been focusing on it. NFL started. I've been looking at that quite a bit. Started a new podcast with a few of my mates. If you want to check that, if you're an NFL fan, that'll also come out later tonight and every Thursday night. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers. Got the mojo deals, we been tripping like pulling out the coupe at the lot.